Hi, my name is Abby Rowland, and the paper or study I'm going to talk to you about is the effects of recovery beverages on glycogen restoration and endurance performance. So let's dive right in. The theory of this study was hypothesized that high carbohydrate protein sports drinks will have a greater muscle glycogen store in recovery compared to a standard sports drink used for rehydration. So a question was posed. Is ingesting a post-exercise drink with high carb and protein going to yield better recovery results of muscle glycogen stores? And so the study was born. Their methods looked like this. They recruited 8 participants who were all males. They were all trained cyclists who were up for the task. They were asked to keep a training log as well as a dietary recall. Before the test, they had to fast for 12 hours, as well as refraining from working out or consuming alcohol for 24 hours. The variables that were used are a high CHOPRO sports drink, which is a carbohydrate and protein drink by the name of Endurox R4. But for this presentation, I will refer to it as CHOPRO, which is silly, but bear with me. And the second variable, which was a CHOSB, which is a carbohydrate sports drink with a 6% carbohydrate content. This drink is very popular, as you all know, and it is an electrolyte replenisher that goes by the name of Gatorade. There ended up being 2 different studies. I'll tell you why. Study 1 was obviously the first to be conducted. They conducted a test that looked closely at plasma volume and electrolytes between treatments. There was no difference in these, but there seemed to be a difference in the performance of one variable subject and the other. So then, study 2 was conceived. This time they looked closely at muscle glycogen storage to see if that yields a different result, and we will take a closer look at each study to see that end result. So looking first at Study 1, it was conducted at the University of North Texas Health and Science Center in Fort Worth, Texas. Before both Study 1 and 2, the cyclist's VO2 max were recorded, which we know is the measurement of the maximum amount of oxygen a person can utilize during intense exercise. They were also weighed and fitted with heart monitors as well. There was a warm-up and then they were off. The cyclists had to ride for 2 hours at a VO2 max of 85% until they fatigued. They conducted various tests with many samples, but a few of them were various blood samples before and after. They even took samples at 60, 120, 150, 180, and 240 minutes after working out. And they even took muscle biopsy samples after the first 3 minutes and 4 hours after exercise. And this was mainly adipose and connective tissue. After working out, a lot of the results remained the same, such as their heart rate, perceived exertion, and amount of fatigue. They did notice one major difference. They noticed that those who had consumed the standard sports drink were at their upper limit of their exertion 20 minutes into their workout. This is opposed to the ones that consumed the CHOPRO sports drink, which were at a much lower rate of exertion. This leads us to Study 2. This study was conducted at the University of Texas, found in Austin, Texas. The same preliminary tests were performed, but this time they had a different set of 8 trained male cyclists, so that the results weren't biased. This time they took blood samples at 30, 60, 120, 150, 180, and 240 minutes after exercise trial. Although there was no difference in plasma glucose concentrations before and after glycogen depletion, they did notice something interesting though. They noticed that after 30 minutes of sports drink consumption, glucose levels increased by 43.2%, above their pre-exercise concentration with the Cho Pro drink, and about 18.5% for the standard sports drink. This means that the high concentration protein drink was 17% greater in plasma response compared to that of just the carbohydrate one. They also looked at plasma insulin levels and found that before and after were very similar. Although after supplement ingestion, the insulin concentration of 30 and 60 minutes after consuming the Cho Pro drink were significantly higher than the standard sports drink. This slide is a great example of that. It shows a graphs of those results. As you can see, the Cho Pro drink is significantly higher than that of the standard beverage. There was about a 92% greater insulin response found in the Cho Pro. In the end, they found that the Cho Pro yielded a 120% greater rate of glycogen storage. They found that the men were able to ride for about 55% longer if they consumed the high carbohydrate protein drink. There are 2.7 times the carb content in the Cho Pro compared to the sports drink of Gatorade. Each serving was 355 milliliters, with Cho Pro having 53 grams of carbohydrates and 14 grams of protein. And the standard sports drink had 21 grams of carbs and 0 grams of protein. With the recovery lasting 4 hours and receiving 2 supplement doses, the total showed that the Cho Pro yielded 106 grams of carbs and 28 grams of protein, whereas the sports drink of Gatorade has 42 grams of carbs and 0 grams of protein. So the proof is in the pudding. This resulted in 26% difference in muscle glycogen stores when consuming the high carbohydrate protein drink. This showed that those cyclists had 2 times the glycogen concentration before their workout compared to those who refueled with Gatorade. Keep in mind that total glycogen concentration does not reference glycogen use, but in theory, it will help that athlete last longer with a greater store of glycogen. Although there was no findings that the added protein played a role in the test, but we know it can help with recovery and repair of damaged muscle tissue. The researchers also noted that this drink choice is suggested after an exercise that results in a very large significant depletion of muscle glycogen stores in order to be the most effective. Well, I had a lot of fun learning about this study, and I hope you guys did too, and were able to take something from this. So thanks for listening.